Point 17 on the agenda is when in Essex we take people out of the room. They've heard from the Secretary Treasurer how much it costs. They've heard from the director, the chapter director, that if they want to look out the competition, this is their opportunity. And then we don't do it in Essex where we make the visitors stand up and applaud them and then take them out. We say, would the visitor host please stand up? And then would the visitors like to follow the visitor host out? This is your opportunity to answer any questions that you might have about the meeting. Please leave your things at the table because you will be able to come back afterwards and continue networking. We're just going to finish a few admin things here. So you're not missing out on anything else for the meeting. The important stuff's already been done in the referral round, but it's your chance to answer any questions. And then we walk outside, and that's where the application forms are set up, the pens are there, any information about the chapter. Some chapters have packs that they give out to visitors. And I literally sit down with them at that point, having moved out of the meeting, and ask them, what did you think? Did you enjoy it? Did you have fun? Now, a lot of people say, oh no, we asked them after the meeting, because if they're taken out in the meeting, it's really embarrassing. I'm like, well, why is it embarrassing? My philosophy is that if they sat there and they've heard somebody say 60 seconds and they go, wow, that's brilliant, I want to work with that person, I want to talk to that person after the meeting, if they then wait until the end of the meeting to talk to that person and they haven't been taken out for their visitor orientation, somebody comes up to them after the meeting with an application form and they're thinking, hang on a minute, I just want to go and talk to that person, that one that's just leaving, I just got to say, and they're not listening to you talking about, do you want to join? You're just annoying them with that little piece of paper. Yeah. Where if they've been told you can come back into the meeting afterwards, please leave all your things here and you can carry on networking, they are relaxed and they're taken out of the room in order to hear what you have to say about the application process. I also take out in some instances super subs who keep coming because people in the chapter keep inviting them, and they're eligible to join, but they're subbing and basically getting free membership. Yeah. So I take them out for the orientation and they go, no, it's all right. I used to be a BNI member. I know what it's all about. I'm like, you're a visitor. You're coming out. Mainly because they have to be told that they're not doing their business any favours by appearing to be a hunter, by keep coming to the group. So I'm saying to them, please don't come again because it's not doing your business reputation any good, and it's actually holding back the members from inviting more suitable substitutes or other visitors. So they then get the message. And as a result of that, we've had about 4 new members who then decide, oh, I can't get away with it anymore. I'll pay me money and I'll come as a proper member. But generally, you take the visitors out. If they've had one meeting, they're allowed their second meeting. At the end of that, if they're not ready to fill in the application form, say, oh, I'm sorry, you won't be able to come again because you've had your 2 meetings. But if you wanted to join, please bring that application form back with you, and you're more than welcome to come if you've got that application form filled out at the beginning of the meeting. And they know you mean business. They know they can't keep subbing on your charity, really, or visiting forever and getting away with it. I personally do. I don't know if all chapters do, but I usually say at point 17 in the meeting we'll take you out and you can ask any questions you like about. You'll see lots of silly bits of paper going around the table, and you can ask any questions you like about that. And no question is too stupid because I guarantee you I've already asked it. I was that person that put a hand up and said, what's the point of this and that? So yeah, I usually do. A lot of chapters have the agenda on each visitor's placemat, and on that agenda there'll be highlighted in red or blue or a different colour the part where the visitor plays a part in the meeting. So it'll be the 60 seconds, the contribution round with a little explanation of just say what you thought about the meeting. Can you find a positive comment to say? And then point 17, visitor host will ask you to come out of the room to answer any questions you might have. The chapter director has to be in charge of it and shouldn't really carry on the meeting until all the visitors have left. Yeah. So really, he could pointedly say, "Oh, that means you. Actually, you get to go out now, because this part of the meeting is just for the members." As a visitor host, when I've done it, I usually stand there and wait till they've all come, and that's why I've seen super subs sitting there going, "Oh no, it's all right. I used to be a member. I know about that." No, you come too. You're a visitor. They need to have somewhere where they can sit down, because otherwise they can't fill the application form in. And that is the whole purpose of you having that orientation, is to get them to complete that form. Okay. A lot of people are worried about asking people to complete the form. I knew a very good salesperson who was killer at the close for her own business, but felt awkward about asking somebody to fill in an application form for BNI. And I said, what you're doing is, you think BNI is great. Yes, it's been brilliant for my business. So by not giving them an application form, you're denying somebody an opportunity to have the same sort of business return and referrals that you get. Is that fair? First of all, I don't give them the form straight away. We just talk about, any questions, and invariably that's when the problems will come up. Like, yeah, I had a great meeting, it's brilliant. I can see what it's all about, but you know what? I'm worried about the commitment. Then I said, well, look, this is my time to tell you the bad news. Right? The bad news is, yes, you do have to come every week. But the reasons behind that are, if you're not here every week, it's difficult to build a relationship with you. BNI, with all the stats that they do, we know that if you miss a week, it takes you another 3 weeks to catch up to where you were with potential referrals, because the following week, everyone goes, oh, they weren't there last week. The week after, it's like, oh yeah, that's what they do in their business. And the week after that, you might get a referral if you're lucky. So by missing a week, it's actually no good to you, and it's no good to the chapter. So we do insist that you're there every week. So that's a huge commitment. And if you can't make that commitment, that's fine. There are other networking groups out there, and you'll be fine in one of those. But if you want to join this group, you have to be aware that we want you to come every week, because it's good for you and it's good for the chapter. Any more than that, and BNI say that you can miss 3 meetings in 6 months due to illness or anything like that, and we say try only be subbed twice. That's your holidays, those kind of things, if you can help it, because it is about building up the relationship. It's really difficult to get that going, and you're going to be missing out on the potential otherwise. So yeah, we don't like people to miss me. So I'm telling them that. The commitments that's involved. And then we say, and the other commitment is we do expect you to bring something to the table for the contribution round every week. Not initially, because you're still finding out about people, but when you're here regularly, that's the other thing I was going to say, when you talk to the most successful member of the chapter, the one who gets the most business, and we say to them, when was the last time you missed a meeting? They won't be able to remember the last time they missed a meeting, because they're there week in, week out, and they will struggle to find that time. Oh, yeah, well, I had a holiday, but apart from that, no, I can't remember. They don't see it as, shall I have a lie-in this week? They go, this is my most important meeting of the week, and that's why I'm going to be there. And it's come hell or high water, they don't miss that meeting. And we want everyone to have that commitment and that attitude towards it. If you do have to be substituted, it'd be great to have one of your clients come along to tell us how wonderful you are. That would be fantastic. Or maybe somebody you know that's in business that would possibly want to join. The rest of the chapter will love you. If you can't get somebody, maybe one of your colleagues from your company can come and sub. If that's not possible, then maybe somebody from another chapter. If that's not possible, then you talk to the leadership team. If they can't find a sub for you, you talk to your director consultant. There are ways of getting substitutes for you. You really do not want to leave your seat empty. And that's a lot, result by leaving your seat empty. So they're okay. So you've explained to them and you've reassured them there are systems in place in order to make sure that you don't leave your seat empty, but at the same time they realise it's really important to make sure they're there every week. And then you tell them about the contribution and the different ways they can make contributions, and why we want contributions, because really everyone in that room is your sales team. Everyone's going to be trying to get you business. Is it fair that you then just turn up and have a nice breakfast and then go home again? You have to contribute. But don't worry, we give you training on that. That's fine. So you're reassuring them again. You're telling them the commitment, but you're reassuring them that we help you every step of the way. Because if you're not successful in BNI, we're not successful. We cannot have it where you join for 6 months and go, it's not working, and you disappear. We have to make sure that you're getting something out of it, because we want you to renew again and again and again. As you will see in this chapter, there are several people that have been here for 5 years or 10 years, or in some cases 15 years. And that reassures them. And then I go on to the application process and say, this is a true story. When I first joined, I had the application form. I said, thank you very much, I'll take it home. I took it home, I looked at it, I didn't understand it. I now had to make a phone call to ring someone up to say, can you explain what this form is all about? Unbeknown to me, another person, another stationery supplier, I joined as a stationery supplier, was also thinking of joining. If I hadn't put my application in on that day, I would have lost out on my category, because the committee would have considered this other guy, and if they'd said yes to him and not to me, then I would have lost out. So if you want to apply today, if you want to be considered today, fill in the application form. It does not mean you get to join. It just means you get to be considered. So and then you explain about the membership committee. So you say, it goes to a membership committee. They will be looking at this application to say, can we get this person some business? Who's in their power team? Are they going to be able to pass referrals to them? Is it going to be a good person for our group? So they will discuss it. If the answer is yes, you will get a phone call to say, congratulations, the committee have approved, pending your references, your application. If at that point you say, do you know what, I actually don't want to get up that early on a Tuesday morning, I'm going to pass. If you want to pass on £35,000 a year, which is what the average is for BNI, that's fine. We throw your application form away. No love lost, it's not a problem. We will not give you the hard sell over the phone. That's not what it's about. But if you don't complete the form today and somebody else does next week or during the week, or maybe someone was going to come this week that does the same thing as you and didn't and might be putting an application form in, you won't be considered alongside them. So that's the difference. By filling in the form today, you will be considered and the committee will decide whether you're the right person to fit in the empty seat at the moment. Invariably, they want to fill the form in. They start putting the name and address at the top. If you're sitting at a table with the form and lots of pens in front, invariably they'll start putting name and address at the top. And then they go, well, before you do that, no, let's go back a bit. We look at the code of ethics. I want to make sure that you understand that if you don't agree to any of these 6 code of ethics, you will be asked to leave. So just by paying your membership and being approved by the committee doesn't give you a year's membership. If for any reason you are not truthful with the referrals with members, you don't build trust and goodwill, and you go through each of the code of ethics, if you don't agree with any of those or you break any of those, we will ask you to leave. So if you can't agree with them now, then please don't fill the form in. And then I talk about the other thing that's difficult is a category, and we talk about category hogging, and why it's good to niche rather than trying to be a jack of all trades. And we explain how you get more business out of niching than you do by trying to cover everything. I then give examples in other chapters where we've got an electrician who specialises in audio-visual, and he's invited another electrician because he got fed up doing the domestic stuff. And that other electrician has now invited a pat tester because he doesn't want to do the pat testing. And all of 3 of them are passing business to each other.
Yeah.
I then talk about another example where the graphic designer also does web design, also does SEO. But in the same chapter, we have a web designer who also does a bit of graphic design, also does a bit of SEO. And we have the SEO person who also does web design and a bit of graphic design. But they all stick to their niches because that's what they're good at, that's what they're known for, that's what they're experts in, and that's what gets them most business. And they actually pass business to each other. And they go, oh, okay. So if you've got the plumber sitting there, then he cottons on pretty quick how he's going to get more business. And then finally, talk about the references at the bottom on the right-hand page, how we know your mother loves you, but putting her name down as a reference isn't good enough for us. What we would like is somebody that's used your services and is probably in business themselves. Because if we're telling them why you want to join, they might be interested in coming along, and we'll probably invite them if they're a business that isn't already in the chapter. So they know what you're about. And you explain that they haven't got to fill a form in. It's no big deal. They just get a phone call. So if you know those 2 names now, please put them down now, because we might be able to make those phone calls and let you know that you've been accepted. And what's nice as well is if it is somebody that looks like they are likely to join, I usually ask one of the power team to book a one-to-one with them in the week, just to double check, because that person in the power team knows what they're looking for, who's in the empty seat, who they need for their empty seat.
Yeah.
And if they've had a one-to-one, then they give the committee the final, yep, they're good, they're brilliant, let's have them in. Rather than bums on seats for the sake of it.
Yeah.
We had one chapter where they were very keen, and they got any old web designer, and he sat in the seat, and it took him about 2 minutes to pass him a couple of jobs, and he didn't know what he was doing. Yeah. And we had to ask him to leave, and it was really sad.
Yeah.
And it's wasted his money because you don't get a refund. So it's always best to check them out, because it's a privilege to be in BNI, and it's a privilege to stay in BNI. So that's why those people, those visitors, need to know that we don't accept just anyone. We want to make sure it's a quality person that's going to fit in really well with our group. And they love it. They absolutely love it. And then they want to fill the form in. I haven't twisted anybody's arm. I've just given them the facts. It's difficult. It's commitment. You will be doing stuff outside the meeting, and we will expect, all of a sudden, £435 isn't a lot of money, plus the 110. It's like, flip, I'm going to get 35,000 out of this. I'm going to get a great support network. I'm going to get personal development, and I'm going to get some business too. It's like, it's a no-brainer. They just want to fill the form in. You don't have to give them the hard sell at all. Yeah. And then, of course, that's going to take about 15 minutes to go through. And then you go back into the room afterwards, and hopefully people from their power team are still hanging around to chat to them, which is, again, another powerful thing for them. They spend another 15, 20 minutes with their power teams as well, having a chat. It has to be followed up afterwards.
Okay.
There has to be that follow-up phone call to say, not will you join, are you joining, what you're going to do is, what do you think of the meeting? How did it go? And if between the meeting and the journey home and the chatting with their business partner or they're chatting with their other half or any of that, they've had some other questions they're going to think about, that's their chance for you to answer any other queries they might have. And if you hear that they're really, really keen, that's got to be done on the same day. The leadership team, if they're tuned in, if one of the visitors is in their power team, the leadership team should take it, because that's an opportunity for the leadership team to have another touch to that person. If that person decides not to join, they've been a really helpful part of that process for that person, and then they can possibly sell to them at a later date if they want to. It's entirely up to the chapter. Some chapters it's always the MC, some chapters it's always the CD, some chapters it's always the visitor host, some chapters share it around. I think if I was on the leadership team and I knew that the chapter director normally did it, but I was the MC, but that visitor was going to be in my power team, I'd say to the chapter director, I'll do that phone call, because I would want to have that conversation with that person. And again, somebody from that power team could do it. It's in your interest to do it because you could get some business out of them. It's also in the chapter's interest to make sure that phone call happens on the day. And all you're doing is ringing up going, hi, what did you think of the meeting? Have you got any other questions? Looking forward to seeing you next week. That'll be fantastic. I'll see you put an application form in. I really hope the committee approve it. It'd be lovely to have you with the group. Do you want to book a one-to-one? And it's a really nice, warm welcome into the room. If you're being really pedantic, a phone call the day before the next meeting is nice, but not essential. Sometimes it's nice as well. Some CDs will send an email to all the visitors to say, it was lovely to see you at the meeting today. Hope you had a good time. Here is a list of our current members. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to get in touch with them. We look forward to seeing you again at another meeting soon. And it's really light and fluffy email, but it's really friendly, and I think that's useful as well. Not essential, but, it's another nice touch to make them feel warm and fuzzy every step of the way.